the landfill is becoming more modern. It's moving on from the time when it was just dump all the garbage and see what happens. Hopefully this means I'm not going to be able to in the future, you know, have stories like there's a number of newborn infants that have been found in the trash by trash pickers here. One of the first days that I came up, you know, from the city, the first time I came to the garbage dump community, I found this family, and they had twins, which I thought was really quite lovely. And then the lady said, no, they're not twins, they're 4 months apart. So I was like, I don't think 4 months apart is possible. She explained to me that she had been scavenging in the garbage and with her 4-month-old son strapped to her back. And she found this little brand new abandoned 1-day-old baby girl. And she picked her up and took her home and was raising her as her own. And I'm excited now that, you know, through the work of Veloo Foundation and all of the people who have helped us, the last time we were in the garbage dump last October, there were no children under the age of 6 in the garbage dump. And we hope that we're providing enough opportunities and initiatives that people don't feel so desperate that they abandon their babies in the garbage. And I'm very impressed that the government is taking the initiative and moving forward and modernizing, you know, the waste disposal system. All progress, all change, all making a huge difference in the lives of the children and the people in the community and the country and the world. I am so happy and excited to be here standing on what is my own personal stage for this TED Talk. 10 years ago, I moved to Mongolia and came up to the garbage dump community by the Ulan Cholot garbage dump and found children in a really terrible and difficult situation, and so decided to do something about it. Today I want to talk about what's happened in the intervening 10 years. You know, have I managed to help the children? Have I managed to make a difference in the community? Have they managed to make a difference in me? Yes. Yes, they absolutely have. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a tour of my adventure here in Mongolia. It has been absolutely life-changing for me and eye-opening, and I've learned so much from these extremely hard-working people who scavenge in the garbage to survive. And I have been so impressed by their ability to take just a little bit of help and turn it into a path forward for themselves and their families. I have seen people who had nothing take the opportunity because we had taken their children and were feeding and caring for them in one of our kindergartens, and go to school and get certified and get a job and move off the garbage dump and buy a car, change the entire future for their whole family. And I really just want to share with you guys a little bit of the stories of how a little bit of good work will change the world. I know that sounds dramatic, but I think we're changing the world. And I want to share some of that with you. So let me just start with a list of some of the things that we did in this 10 years. So we started out, we were going to make a daycare center. Then I found out that the Mongolian government, by its own rules, has to help support kindergartens. So we built a kindergarten. And then we built a summer camp. And then we built a sewing center. The sewing center has made this absolutely beautiful jacket that I'm wearing. We've taken ladies who were scavenging to survive, and now they're turning out beautiful things like this. After the sewing center, we built a community library. When that got too small, we're now building another community library. And then we built a second kindergarten. Ten years ago, when I moved to Mongolia with my husband, we brought with us some donation items. And we thought that was going to be the extent of it. We ended up coming up here to this exact spot, as a matter of fact, and we found children living in really, really difficult circumstances. So we decided we would build a daycare center. We thought we would just do a small thing, help a few children, help a few families, make a difference. And there was this tremendous outpouring of generosity from people and companies and corporations and individuals, and unbelievable ways and unbelievable connections that I made sort of almost magically, that meant that we were able to do much, much more than just build a daycare center. In fact, we're standing here at the site of Narnii Huuhduud 1. This is the first kindergarten that we built. This kindergarten has been in operation for 8 years now, and we have had, the first year we had 40 children. The highest we had is 150 children. So welcome to my, the second part of my stage, or I should say maybe another part of my stage. Stage is a good word. I feel like my development in Mongolia and the development of my project in Mongolia definitely has gone through stages, and we're about to enter a new one. 3 years ago, this was empty, barren land with garbage blowing across it, because we're right at the entrance to the Ulan Cholot garbage dump. Now, as you can see, this is a beautiful, colorful, bright, gorgeous kindergarten. This happens to be the first public-private project for a kindergarten in Mongolia, or so I've been told. So this is Narnii Huuhduud. So this is our second kindergarten, but it's operated by the Mongolian government. So we have input into the children, make sure that they're taking the right children, and all the programs are addressing the needs, but they pay all the operating expenses, provide the teachers, and you know, have a really serious impact here in the community. We're going to scrap that whole last bit. 3 years ago, I was sitting in a room with Nimbatir, a member of parliament at the time, and he and I were working on an agreement to raise money and build a kindergarten that would feed, care, and educate an additional 175 children. This is the result. Right here at the gate to the Ulan Cholot garbage dump is this beautiful, bright, happy kindergarten. There was a really profound effect on me when I saw the difference between having a kindergarten building that was designed and built to be a kindergarten building and one that was adapted from a previous use. So our first kindergarten was a donated modular building. I should say is a donated modular building. Was donated by Folger Pratt Construction and had been used as their construction office. The difference between having things designed at kindergarten and designed for office didn't really strike me until I came and saw this building. And so ever since this building came into being, which we signed the agreement 3 years ago this week, and less than a year later it was functional. As soon as it came into being, I started thinking, how can we get this for the first kindergarten as well? Because it's permanent and it's long-standing and it's serious infrastructure development. And over the last couple of years, while the kindergarten here has been developing, we've been working on a plan, and now we're really excited that the next stage is going to be taking the existing kindergarten and turning it into a vocational training center for the children, the young adults and teenagers in our district who have no training and maybe haven't graduated high school, but to give them opportunities to move forward with life off of a garbage dump. So we are excited that we're going to be raising money and rebuilding the first kindergarten so that it can be as amazing and colorful, as wonderful, and as permanent as this one. And when you go down into the Gare district here and you start having a lovely conversation in fluent English with a 12-year-old, and she's talking about, you know, when she grows up, she wants to do good because she's seen the power that doing good in a community like this has. That's the kind of thing that has changed my life. So, you know, I was mentioning before that it was $3 million that we've raised. So one of the things that happened to me as we were building all of these institutions and reaching out and helping so many people, one of the things that happened to me is that I absolutely fell in love with Mongolia and Mongolian people and Mongolian culture. Mongolian language, not so much. See, it's not so good. But in any case, I started riding. And I mean, I started riding. I fell in love with horseback riding, which is kind of an interesting thing to do at 50. And working with my Mongolian language teacher and her husband, Saraa and Baagii, who had a small trekking business, I started getting people coming to Mongolia to go riding. I started the Gobi Gallop, which is the longest annual charity horseback ride on the planet. Every year we go 700 kilometers in 10 days of riding to raise money for the projects. And it works. Every year we make somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000 on this ride. And every year people get to come and have this incredibly great experience and learn really about, you know, authentic Mongolian riding and history and culture. And so the Gobi Gallop has expanded Saraa Baagii's capacity. And so now, 2022, we're going to undertake the granddaddy of all charity rides. We're undertaking the Blue Wolf Totem Ride, which is going to be 3,600 kilometers in 84 days. The reason that I'm mentioning that is not just that it's a fundraiser. It's not just that I'm getting 15 really adventurous, amazing people from around the world to come and ride with me. It's that, for me, it embodies what this is all about. It's about supporting the Mongolian culture. It's about giving back to the people of the country their own history, giving them back their own pride, their own culture. Keeping it, the 21st century is pressing in on all of us. And the last year with COVID has been extremely difficult, more difficult here for the children in the Gare district and the children that we help than you can imagine, because they've been locked in their gares. Families not even allowed to go and scavenge. And so one of the things that we did this winter is we transitioned from kindergarten, from running the kindergarten to doing sort of distance learning, teaching the children at home and delivering food and fuel to 105 families. All of the time, all of this outreach, all of this support, all of this change made me realize that we can. Everybody has the ability to make a difference on this planet. I think some of the stuff that I've done, has made a difference. And I know that Mongolia has definitely made a difference for me. It has been such a big part of my adventure. I'm overwhelmed with memories and thinking about all of the people that have helped make this reality. I'm thinking about all the companies and corporations and fundraisers and all of the children and the teachers and the cooks and the sewing center ladies and all of the people that I've talked to in the garbage dump. And I'm thinking that Mongolia itself is a great adventure. It's an amazing place. And, coming and learning to ride and starting Gobi Gallop and taking on the Blue Wolf Totem, all of these things sort of combined for over the last 10 years to make my life like a choose your own adventure novel. And I have to say that I couldn't have picked a better, middle for my choose your own adventure novel, because we're not over yet. I'm so excited that part of the adventure is finding a way for the COVID pandemic to make it possible for us to move forward and, build that training center for the older kids and rebuild the first kindergarten. I'm just really happy that my choose your own adventure route through this particular novel is turning out to be an adventure for good. I hope you all get a chance to choose your own adventure as well.